Hey, Zach, how you doing? So how did you spend the 5 days off, and how much did you throw? How much did you get ready for Saturday?
Spent it with family on our off days and at the field, obviously, when we had our workouts. But I threw when I was here, threw a bullpen on Wednesday, full bullpen. I'll throw a couple more off the mound today just to get that little refresh and just try to be ready for tomorrow.
Okay, we're going to stay on the left. Any concerns about any concerns about the layoff or anything like that?
No, I mean we've done it before throughout the season. You know, it's not always this long, but it does happen, and just I don't know. You throw a couple bullpens in between and hope for the best.
Okay, next question. I'm going to go there in the middle.
You guys just faced the Mets a couple weeks ago. Just what sort of a challenge do they pose offensively?
They're a good team. You know, they're pretty lengthy in the lineup, and you know, they got some power, they got some speed on the bases, and they make contact. So you know, it's a tricky lineup, and they're hot right now. They're playing good baseball, and you know, just try to go out there and just minimize the guys on base, and yeah, just those strikes, try to get ahead, and yeah.
Next question. Todd on the left.
Zach, you've had a lot of success in the postseason. I'm just wondering, can you remember how you felt before that first postseason start? And do you feel the same every time since you pitched? Or are you more comfortable? Were you nervous the first time? What do you remember?
I think you get nervous probably any time. You know, it's very important, especially game one, to set the tone. You know, keep the fans in it, and just keep them off the board. Just try to let our team score and keep the momentum on our side. And yeah, I mean, you always get nerves, but you know, once you get out there, they kind of settle down a little bit, and you kind of forget about them, and just do your normal job in this pitch, and just try to do the best you can.
Okay, we're going to go to Dave Lennon in the back and the left.
Hey, Zach, we spend a lot of time kind of quantifying anything with stats and that, but in 22, you guys kind of had a similar run to what the Mets kind of went through this year. Is there something more dangerous or something real about when a team gets on those kind of rolls? I mean, how did you guys feel, and was that kind of a legit thing that made you guys more dangerous during that time?
Yeah, I mean, you know, just being in baseball, you always hear, you know, get into the playoffs. Anything can happen. You always hear that, and you know, when you aren't necessarily in it, you're like, oh, whatever, okay. And then, you know, once it happens to you or your team, you're like, yeah, it's kind of real, because you know, you get that momentum, and you know, you're playing well, and maybe you don't necessarily expect to be there, or maybe you do kind of expect to be there, but you know, you're just playing well and you're winning, and you're having a lot of fun with the guys and stuff like that. It's definitely a roller coaster, and you know, there's some truth to just get in and you know, see what happens, hope for the best. So you know, they played really hard over there, and they scrapped, and they played well, you know, down the stretch, and they made it to the playoffs. So credit to them, and you know, their players and staff, and you know, it's hard to make the playoffs, that's for sure.
Okay, straight in the middle.
Hey, Zach, is it a little crazy for you to be facing the Mets in the playoffs, or are you far enough removed from having played there that it doesn't really occur to you?
Yeah, I mean, it's a little bit of both. You know, it's fun playing against those guys always, but at the same time, I've been over here for a while now, and there's no hard feelings. Everything's kind of changed over there personnel-wise. So, like I said, there's no hard feelings. It's just baseball at this point, and but you know, at the end of the day, I want to win. So.
Okay, to the left against the wall.
Zach, I know you talked about wanting to be better against lefties before the season started, and you put up incredible numbers against righties all season. What do you think allowed you to be even better against right-handed batters this season specifically?
Don't know. Honestly, like I tried to attack them the same, you know, repertoire and stuff like that. I don't think we really changed too much. Maybe this execution a little bit better, but there's nothing really set against righties. I did throw the split a little bit more against them this year. Maybe that helped me out just on the sinker end a good bit. But our concentration this year coming in was getting better against lefties, and I feel like I did that a little bit. So it's a step forward.
Okay, we're going to go in the back on the right to Bob.
Zach, everybody talks about the home field advantage here, of course, but what you saw the first round the last few years, it seems like the visiting teams do quite well in the playoffs. Why do you think that is?
No idea. No, I don't know. I don't have an answer for you. This is a tough place to play, and we always took it that way. And the Diamondbacks came in here and beat us 2 games to win the series last year, and that kind of hurt us. But we're much more hungry this year. Kind of left a bad taste in our mouth, and we don't want to do that for our fans. All we needed to win was 1 last year, and we didn't do that. So, we're pretty hungry this year.
Okay, in the back on the left, Tim.
Knowing that you were going to face the Brewers or Mets on Saturday, were you watching the game last night at all?
Yeah, a few of us got together and watched the game over at Castellanos' house, and we had a little cookout and stuff like that. So a bunch of us were over there and watched the game.
Knowing Pete the way that you do, playing together, I believe it's just his rookie year. What did you think of that moment in that spot for him?
Yeah, I know he likes the spotlight, and that was a perfect spot for him. I think he's a good guy, and he has the power. Maybe he wasn't swinging it like he liked to, but he always has that power in his back pocket, and he could always do what he did at any moment. So I'm happy for him as a person, and happy for him.
Okay, you're going to take one more over here on the right, second row.
Zach, you guys have had a lot of familiarity in the playoffs in the past 2 years. Obviously, when you played Atlanta, there's going to be familiarity now with the Mets again. How do you approach that? Do you just do what you do and say it's best on best and see who wins, or do you try and adjust things a little bit?
Yeah, we, like you said, there's a lot of familiarity there, and they know me, I know them, and it's kind of this cat and mouse game at this point. It's I just pitched against them 2 weeks ago, whatever it was. So. It's pretty fresh, but at the same time, get out there, see how the game starts going. Maybe we change some things up, maybe we don't. I'm going to pitch to my strengths and how I pitch, and if we need to veer from that, we will.